I just recorded a 12-minute video with my mic muted, so we're going to be recording this again, and I'm going to run through it fast, right? So, obviously, Israel Adesanya just lost his fight against Dricus Du Plessis, right? He got submitted in the 4th round. So, what is next for Izzy? I know in my last video, I said he should retire. You know, I went all crazy. I was trolling a little, but in reality, what do I think is next for Israel Adesanya? So, we're going to talk about 2 different paths that he can take, right? And so, the first path that he can take is staying at middleweight, right? So, if he stays at middleweight, I think it is likely that he will fight the loser or the winner of Khamzat Chimaev and Robert Whittaker, And I think that the UFC likes to keep Izzy in this like top 5 range. They don't really like the idea of him fighting a prospect. So I think that they are going to keep him for these big fights against big names like Robert Whittaker or Khamzat Chimaev. So whichever route the UFC goes, if Izzy stays at middleweight, I think it'll be a decent fight. I would probably pick Izzy to lose those fights, though, honestly. I would probably pick Whittaker to beat him in a trilogy fight, okay? And I would probably pick Khamzat Chimaev to beat him, especially in a 3-rounder, right? So, you know, we'll see what the UFC ends up doing there, if he does end up staying at middleweight. But I also want to talk about another option at middleweight and what I think should happen at middleweight, right? So somebody in the comments of my last video brought this up, and I think this is a great fight, right? So Michel Pereira has a fight against Fluffy Hernandez coming up. I don't know exactly when. I think it's next month, maybe. But it's a fight night card, right? So, Michel Pereira, if he ends up winning that fight, he would be ranked a little higher than he is right now, right? So he's 13, but maybe he would jump up to like 10 or around that, right? I know Fluffy's 14, so he's technically fighting down, but chances are they would boost up Pereira to around the 10 spot. And guys, I mean, Izzy fighting Pereira would not be a crazy thing, right? Number 2 fighting number 10, when Izzy in reality should be around the number 3. So it's not a crazy thing, especially when you think that Izzy's lost his 2 last fights. Why the fuck should he not be fighting a guy like Pereira? Right? So I think that's a great fight to make. It's not only great stylistically, but it's also good because if Pereira does win that fight, you have a new star. You know, you could offer up Izzy as like a lamb to the slaughter, right? So you can offer him up, and if Pereira wins that fight, he's the new star. He's a new star in the middleweight division, and we finally got more guys in the top 5 because for the longest time it seems like you constantly have Marvin Vettori, Jared Cannonier, Sean Strickland, and you know the same guys, Robert Whittaker obviously, but these guys never win a fight prospect. So it would be great to see a new prospect in the middleweight division. So I think that Izzy fighting Michel Pereira is a very good fight, not only stylistically like I said, but also it'd just be great for the fans as well to see it. And I think it's a good fight to make, maybe a fight night main event. I honestly don't know if Izzy would fight on a fight night main event, but you know, it would be a cool 5-round fight in my opinion, and it would probably go less than that. It would probably be over in like 2 rounds. But let's talk about the second path that Izzy can take, and that is moving up to light heavyweight. This is what I think Izzy should do, in all honesty. And if he does move up to light heavyweight, I can guarantee you that the UFC is going to match him up against a top 5 guy, right? They're not gonna force Izzy to fight somebody like Johnny Walker. I don't think they're gonna do that. I think they're gonna go straight to the top. And if we look here, Yuri Prochazka and Izzy are friends, so they're not gonna give Izzy Yuri Prochazka. I doubt that. Magomed's booked. Jamal Hill. What about Jamal Hill? Jamal Hill is free, right? I think he pulled out of the Khalil Roundtree fight, or was it the Olberg fight? Whatever. You know, that cursed fight that was supposed to be on that one card. He pulled out of it, I think, due to injury. So this would be perfect. You know, maybe Jamal takes another 5 months or 6 months off, and that's really perfect timing because that's probably when Izzy would be looking to make a return, right? So I think if Jamal Hill times it right, he could possibly have a fight with Izzy. And I think if Izzy times it right, obviously, as well. But we could see Izzy versus Jamal Hill, and I think that's probably the fight to make because it would not only be like an entertaining striking matchup, but you would also have Izzy in the top 5 of light heavyweight, right? I don't think they're going to feed him to Jan Blachowicz, or sorry, not even feed him, but just give him to Jan Blachowicz, because I don't think we want to see that rematch, in all honesty. And I don't know what the fuck they're doing with Jan Blachowicz, right? He's just kind of been sitting on the sidelines forever now, but it's whatever. They could give Jan Blachowicz him, but chances are Jan Blachowicz will end up winning because he's actually going to grapple, right? And I think they're going to avoid these grapplers in the division, right? So I think Jamahal Hill is a winnable matchup for Izzy, and it would put him right there to be next in line for a title shot against Alex Pereira, which is kind of the fight that the UFC has been looking to make for a while, is, you know, a trilogy with Alex Pereira. I think that's why they honestly didn't have Alex fight Magomed, because they were looking to make that Izzy matchup if Izzy won. But then obviously, you know, the whole 307 situation came up where there was no main card for 307 or main event for 307. So they were like, fuck, we got to use Alex even though we were saving him for an Izzy fight, right? So in all honesty, though, I do think that Izzy should be fighting a little down, and I think maybe a guy like Volkan Ozdemir would be a better matchup for him to take because, you know, I don't think he should fight straight up or straight after losing two. I don't think he should be fighting the third best guy at light heavyweight, but it's whatever. The UFC will probably end up giving him Jamahal Hill, and it's not even a terrible fight in my opinion. I think that's a good fight. I think it's winnable. I think it's actually probably more like a 60% chance or 70% chance that Jamahal Hill ends up being knocked out by Izzy, or, you know, Izzy ends up winning that, right? So I think it's a cool matchup. I wouldn't be against it. But yeah, that's what I think the UFC should do. I don't think that Izzy should stay at middleweight, in my opinion, and I doubt that they're gonna give or they're gonna let any prospects fight Izzy. I think Izzy is at the stage in his career where he is only looking for these super fights against like more well-known names and, you know, guys that are in the top 5 type of thing. But it's whatever. Izzy's gonna get special treatment. Obviously, we already know this. And I'm gonna keep this video short because I rambled on for like 20 minutes talking about this. So it's whatever. My mic was muted, but you know, I hope you guys enjoy this video. Let me know in the comments below what you guys want to see happen to Izzy. You know, who you want to see him fight. But I think that moving up to light heavyweight is probably the best thing for him and would be the most entertaining for like the fans and stuff. So we'll see. Obviously, Izzy is only like 35 or 36, so he can fight. If he moves up to light heavyweight, he could be fighting into his 40s. That's not even crazy. He could fight till he's like 41 or 42 and still have some decent fights, because I don't think Izzy is over. I don't think it's his retirement, like I said in my last video. But yeah, so it's whatever, guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. Leave a like, subscribe, and yeah, tell me what you guys want to see in the comments, and peace.